All right, the Celtics are back in action. The quote unquote second half of the season officially tips off here. Celtics get a win on the road, their seventh straight. We're going to get into it here. Celtics Bulls recap coming up next here on Green with Envy. You know the deal. Let's lock in. What up, what up, what up? Welcome into another post-game edition of Green with Envy. As always, it's your boy Will Weir checking in. How you doing? How you living? Basketball is back in the world and all is right again. And here to help me break it down is the Celtics keep the winning streak alive despite the All-Star break. Now 7 in a row. And with the Cleveland Cavaliers lost tonight to the Orlando Magic, now 7 games up on the 2 seed.
Juggernaut.
It's my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast here. It is the one and only Greg Manakis. Welcome back, man. Second half of the season. We're stretch run, really. Stretch run. Just forget the second half. Stretch run of the season here.
27 games left, man. I'm excited. That was a fun game. Celtics kind of let their guard down quite literally in the second quarter. But we pulled it out. Team looks great. Excited to talk about Luke Kornet's revenge against Andre Drummond, holding down the spot, saying Xavier Tillman not so fast. I can hold down this third string.
Adam and I went on our first live stream that we did. Well, not necessarily our first live stream, but our new consistent live stream. So just kind of a programming reminder here. Moving forward, every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, the three-man weave, typically all three of us, sometimes it'll just be two of us, but we will be live streaming 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central time, YouTube, Twitter, every Thursday. Lock it in. Put it in the calendar. It's appointment viewing. Come join us. Subscribe to the YouTube feed if you want to get the updates. Just follow us on social media. We want everybody to come in and be really interactive. We had a good one today. And obviously, Tillman being active, that was a major talking point was, we're going to probably see what Tillman looks like today. We'll see, yada, 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 what that looks like. And didn't get it to the last 2 minutes of the game tonight. So we will check in on that. But like you said, Luke Kornet, another strong showing. So, with that, let's just do what we do here. And let's hop right in to a morning box score. The Boston Celtics beat the Chicago Bulls on the road in the United Center 129-112. Let's start with the Chicago Bulls. Let's go to Alex Caruso, a.k.a. Elmer Fudd, Greg's boy here. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. For some reason, the Celtics kept going at him at one point. Didn't really understand that strategy. They pivoted and things seemed to work out, but that was an odd strategy in about the second, third quarter range. Nikola Vucevic had a really strong first half, 10 of 19 from the field, 22 points from him, 20 points from Kobe White. DeMar DeRozan, who's been a thorn in the Celtics side over the last couple of years, relatively quiet night, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 of 17 from the field. As Greg talked about, this game got real close. Bulls even had a lead at halftime, but then the Celtics really kind of dominated the early parts of that first quarter and then certainly throughout the second half. So with that, let's go over to the good guys and let's check in on the Boston Celtics. This guy didn't make the All-Star game, but Derrick White, big night. First game back from the break here. 28 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. I believe you can add his name to the new 5 for 5 watch list as everybody wants to see who's the next guy with that 5 for 5 stat line. Coming close to that territory tonight for Derrick White. Let's go to the Jays. Jayson Tatum, 8 of 17 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, filling up the stat line. Jaylen Brown, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 of 12 from the field from him. Really got cooking in that second quarter. Really kept the Celtics afloat when the Bulls tried to make a run here. Kristaps Porzingis, only 5 of 16, 14 points for him. 9 points for Drew Holiday. 8 for Sam Hauser before he went out with what's, I imagine, it's going to be a really nice shiner come tomorrow morning. Peyton Pritchard also chipped in with 9 points. And then Luke Kornet, who we'll talk about here, 10 points and 4 rebounds. One of the biggest differences on the night here tonight, the Celtics go 23 of 47 from the three-point line, good for just under 49% from 3. When this team shoots like that from 3, Greg, it's going to be pretty tough to beat. Like I said, Bulls went into halftime, surprisingly enough, with a lead in this game, but then second half was all Celtics from start to finish.
Yes, Cal called it out pretty early on in the game. He said the way that the Bulls play defense, there's going to be a lot of open 3-point shots, and they were a lot of open 3-point shots. It seemed like the only guys who shot was actually getting contested was Porzingis. They were
Right.
doing a pretty good job of running out at him with high hands. But I mean, how many Derrick White threes were wide open? He shot 10 threes, and I felt like at least 8 of those, there was nobody within 10 feet of him. And it felt like that for most of the night for the Celtics. The thing that stands out with the team, though, the defense after that second quarter, which is pretty brutal. 10 blocks, 11 steals. Is that what it ended up being? Or 11 blocks and 10 steals. So 21 for the team stock exchange. There's that stat. This is the fifth time in NBA history that a team has over 23 pointers, 10 blocks, and 10 steals in a game. The fifth time in NBA history that's been done, all starting with Derrick White getting those 3 blocks in the first quarter. Porzingis, he wasn't great on the offensive side of the ball, but he did have 3 blocks himself. Jayson Tatum stepped it up in the third quarter on the defensive side of the ball. He ended up with 3 steals in the game. Drew Holiday was solid. This was one of those games where Derrick White was cooking, Jaylen Brown got cooking, Jayson Tatum took over in the third quarter, and Drew Holiday, all he had to do was play defense, and I thought he played really good. Good floor management game from
Yeah.
Drew as well.
6 assists to go in there as well, right? Just kind of
Right, just 2
playing his role
turnovers.
once again, being the hottest corner 3-point shooter in the league, was 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Like you said, just kind of played his role. Looking at Jayson Tatum, I was it felt like first half Jayson Tatum was still wherever him and Deuce went on vacation, is might have still been there for a little bit of that first half.
Well,
Third quarter came out really strong though.
yeah, I think in the second quarter with Tatum, because I mean, it's tough, right? He plays the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. It's almost impossible to get into a rhythm. I actually liked the substitution pattern in the first quarter today. They took out Tatum at the 7-minute mark instead of the 6-minute mark. And then they
Yep.
took out Brown at the 4-minute mark instead of like the 2-minute mark, which I thought was nice because I think they overextend Jaylen in the first quarter sometimes. So I like that. I'm going to keep an eye on that substitution pattern. But because Jaylen and Derrick White were cooking in the first half, it almost seemed like Tatum was like, you know what? I'm a chill.
Right. And
He
I
was
think that's totally fine, right? It's when the second quarter, when Jalen did get cooking towards the end of the second quarter, but it was in that second quarter when things got a little wonky. It's like I kind of want to have a little bit more impact from JT, but once again, it was the first half coming back from the All-Star break, and then third quarter, he absolutely turned it on and kind of dominated that third quarter,
oh yeah.
In several different aspects of that game. So really hard to complain too much. But actually, just to your point about the first quarter, I think it was I can't believe if it was remember if it was Jay King or Jared Weiss had an article in the Athletic talking where Jayson Tatum was talking about kind of why, like, his personality and then how he likes to kind of let things play out and then see where he needs to impose himself. And for JB, he's more aggressive from the jump. Like JB wants to get going, is what we've talked about, JB being that opener, and then mixing in Kristaps Porzingis, like we talked about a bunch in one of our recent podcasts about how he changes the dynamic of everything. So, JT having a slow start in the first quarter is almost by design, right? Because it's designed for Kristaps and JB to kind of get theirs. And then JT is going to come in and see where he needs to, impose his will, like I said earlier.
Yeah, I have the shot chart pulled up here on NBA.com. This is Tatum's first quarter shot chart. So he did shoot 5 times. He was 1 for 5 from the field. You juxtapose that with Derrick White, who came out absolutely on fire in that first quarter, and he kind of picked that up in the fourth quarter as well. I want to talk about that little empty side pistol action they ran with Porzingis a little bit later. But JT, when you see him in that third quarter when he takes over there, I mean, the shot chart's just crazy. This is where Tatum loves to live, on that left wing. He shoots so many of his 3-pointers from that left wing. And when he gets cooking, there's not really much a team can do. I like Tatum getting to the basket a little bit more. The way that they were doubling him with Vucevic kind of staying in like a medium drop and Caruso staying on his hip, it was kind of tough for him to get to the rim, but he finally decided that he was going to put his head down and get to the rim a couple times, get to the line, missed a couple free throws, but it definitely seemed like he was developing his rhythm back into this game. I like seeing the impact on the defensive side of the ball with Tatum, though. I think at the end of the day, when all the MVP talk that's been going around with Tatum in the big games, if like this Saturday, right, against the Knicks, it's going to be a nationally televised game. I think this is going to be a huge moment for Jayson Tatum because I think at some point in that game he's going to have to cover Jalen Brunson. I think the length that Tatum provides against those quick guards, water bug point guards, and pick and roll is something that the Celtics have gone to in the past, and I would expect him to continue to do that. But I like the defensive impact the game today from Tatum, and I think that's going to be important for his MVP candidacy moving down the road.
Yeah, we touched on his MVP candidacy on this. So if you're listening to this right now, it's already up on YouTube. It'll be up on the audio podcast, on the audio feed later today. But we talked about that, how after this game tonight, it's now 8 straight national TV games for the
That's
Celtics
crazy.
coming up. It's an insane run. So
That's
the Knicks,
crazy.
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
We got the Knicks, Sixers, Mavericks, Warriors, Cavs, Nuggets, and Suns all on either ABC, TNT, or ESPN. So basically 2 straight weeks of Celtics in your face. And if there is a time where Tatum is going to fully flip the MVP narrative, it's probably going to happen in this 8-game stretch or so. They have a few other games soon thereafter against Phoenix and Milwaukee, but 8 straight games, national TV. So this certainly will be a big moment for the Jayson Tatum MVP campaign. Will be exciting to watch. Just kind of going back to this game today, Greg. I know you said there was a Derrick White and Kristaps Porzingis action that you wanted to talk about. So let's go there.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to keep an eye on in the last 28 games this season is the shifting in who's initiating the offense and how they're initiating the offense. One thing that the Celtics really like to do in general is to have an empty side pick and roll action or give and go action with Kristaps Porzingis and either Jaylen Brown. That's normally like that 2-man game that you see a lot. They'll run some some different actions to get an empty side. Today it was the kind of pistol action. So the pistol action is pretty simple. You'll have like the big man standing roughly foul line extended out to the 3-point line in early transition. The guard will probably either throw it to the big man and then cut off of them, or they will kind of get a screen in transition and go to the basket. So today, 2 possessions in a row, they go to that pistol action. So it's White coming up the floor on the left side, tosses the ball ahead to Porzingis, and then runs into the corner. They can do a dribble handoff there, or they can come back around for the dribble handoff going towards the middle, getting Derrick White going to his right. And it ended up in great action 2 times in a row. I think one of them ended up being a Derrick White and one coming off the screen and roll. And then the second time they top locked it, forced Derrick White to the baseline. He backdoor cut. And I think it also ended up with a Derrick White, either layup or he made the right.
Got fouled on that.
Yeah. But it was 2 really good actions twice in a row. And I think anytime you can get Derrick White coming out of that left corner, getting to his right hand, very similar to Jaylen Brown. Anytime you can get him out of the left corner, coming to his right hand with Kristaps Porzingis, I think that's just money in the bank. So I want to see when they're running those types of actions and who they're running them with, because I do think that's an action they go to a lot with Jalen early in the game with Porzingis, but I want to see a little bit more out of Derrick White and Porzingis, especially in the fourth quarter, because I think it's just there's so many ways that the Celtics can get efficient shots that aren't just Jayson Tatum shooting a 3-point shot in a switch. You know what I mean? Like there's just all these other ways. We know we can get Kristaps at the nail in a mismatch, which the Bulls did a good job taking away today, by the way. But I do think that one thing I'm really paying attention to, I really want to like laser focus in the last 28 games to break down some film with Adam and look at different plays that they're running and the frequency at which they're running them in the fourth quarter. Because I think that would be a really fun exercise to see how that translates into more efficient fourth quarter offense, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something you guys are going to have to do because, like I said at the top, there's 7 games up on the 2 seed right now. Like there's likely not going to be a ton of drama around the Celtics getting that 1 seed. It's going to be a little bit more of how do the teams behind them look, regardless of, because we know seed doesn't always matter when you get to the playoffs. It's going to be how these teams look. But from a night to night basis, it's going to be very rare that you and I hop on here and we're like, man, they blew that game. They're 6.5 games up now. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not going to be that same type of nail biting motion. So they're going to have to see, you know, how these things look. And they have a lot of competitive games over the next month or so before the schedule really lightens up towards the end of the season. And then there's a whole bunch of Pistons, Hawks, Wizards, Hornets games that are probably going to be pretty tough to get up to, just being honest here. So over this next month is when I think that we're going to see a lot of what you're talking about, either whether that's experimentation from Joe and running actions where maybe it's Derrick White and KP instead of just, getting that JT mismatch, we know is always going to be there, but seeing what else could work. What are the other curveballs that we keep coming back to that could be available down the stretch? So that will be fun for us to check out. Two other things that I want to hit here before we get out of here. We got to talk about Luke Kornet. You gave Luke Kornet a shout out. You know, it was funny because Xavier Tillman, which is the other part that I want to talk about here, just because he did get some run the last couple minutes. Not too much you can take away from it, but just curious. First impressions always fun to talk about. But with Luke Kornet, you know, I thought with Tillman healthy, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of an interesting matchup to think about. You know, Tillman being the stronger of the two, you know, and being kind of that more physical body, thinking that, yeah, this might be actually a scenario where if Drummond's bullying someone like Luke, like you might be like, all right, Luke, this might not be your night. We'll go to a guy like Tillman. But Luke, who got thrown around a little bit early on in the game, fought back, man. And Luke, once again, you know, Tillman's here, but Luke keeps playing great, man. Luke doesn't want to give up his spot.
Luke was pissed when Drummond pushed him into Sam. I think from that moment on, Luke's physicality went up another level because
it was like a big brother instinct, right? Like you made me hurt my little brother, right? So now I'm gonna fuck you up. That was kind of Luke's mentality.
Drummond was tossing around. He was ragdolling him like fucking. You're not gonna get this reference, Will, but ragdolling him like Kamzat Chimaev. Is that even a real person to you?
I don't know. I wasn't even sure if that was English or what language that was.
So Drummond was just throwing Luke around and getting all those offensive rebounds. I think Drummond had 8 rebounds. If you can check as I'm talking here, how many of those were offensive rebounds, but he was just pushing Luke around all night. And then the moment Luke got pushed into Sam, he ratcheted up the physicality. 4 offensive rebounds for Drummond. Yeah. And then how many offensive rebounds for Luke? Let's see. Especially in that fourth quarter. Check in the fourth quarter, because that's when he like really turned.
Well, he had 4 offensive rebounds in total. So I don't think that they have it up yet as the breakdown by quarter here, but yeah, but he had 4 offensive rebounds in the game, and I think most of them probably came in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I mean he was playing with a little bit more physicality. There was that one play where Drummond kind of bodied him and sent him flying backwards, and then I think he missed the shot, and Luke kind of like gathered himself off of the contact and went up and got the rebound, or at least tapped it out, and he just started to like play with like. You know, there's a bully on the playground. He's kicking my ass. He's completely.
He done some of those ones with some authority, man.
He did.
There was one of them.
I was like, yeah, he had to step up the physicality where like you're hitting, you know, you're going through the motions, and then all of a sudden you're playing against real people again. You know, it's like he had the week off, and then he was like, shit.
Right.
Now I'm playing against Andre Drummond, who just throws everybody around. I really have to step it up. You know, playing against bones, not against cones. And I think that's what Luke had to kind of adjust for, is Andre Drummond, which, you know, seeing him tonight, it's like, yeah, he could have helped the Celtics if we wanted to go out and get him, but also he's not a very good defender. The Celtics really targeted him on the defensive side of the ball too. So I'm happy that we stuck with Luke, and that Luke was able to hold his own against Drummond in that second half.
Yeah, shout out to Luke, man. He's been impressive all season. Even though we always want to have a debate, like, is Luke the guy? Luke is saying, I'm here. I'm the guy, and of course,
and he's fucking hilarious.
He's vibing it up. So I actually put this out on Twitter. Was that a dab, or was that a Jaylen Brown dunk contest reference? What do you think it was?
I thought, my first thought was that he was doing some sort of like karate motion because he just knocked out Sam. That's what I thought he was doing. But I don't know. I guess they're gonna have to ask him.
Yeah, we'll
maybe
have to
it was a series of dabs.
Check the post game comments to see what that was. And then last thing we had here. So like I said, I was excited that we might get some more Xavier Tillman. We did get a little snippet here at the end, but I was also excited because I know that you haven't had a chance to look at the stream we did earlier yet, but I have my soundboard all ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
So we got that all queued up for Xavier Tillman here when we get to talk about him, but we did get a little mini first impression. I mean, not too much you can really take away from 233, but you know, I did like that before there was that last time out, Joe, I felt very intentionally wanted to get at least a quick look at what is Tillman with like a real lineup.
Do you want to hear Matt Manning, our guy Matt Manning's first impression of Xavier Tillman?
I would love to.
He texted me when he got in the game. He said, Tillman has a bit of Jared Sullinger build, for better or worse. That was my guy, Matt. One of my best
not entirely
friends.
wrong.
locker buddy, college roommate. That was his take. Yeah, Tillman. I think that's one of the things when you watch him, because he's a young guy, right? He's in his mid
Yeah,
20s,
this
but
is he's a I mean he's a 4-year guy at Michigan State, so this is his 4th year in the league
yeah, he's
now
like
too.
26 or 27, maybe something
Yeah,
like that. But his knees look shot. You know what I mean? Like, he's not one of those guys that's going to be
very
Al
ground bound.
Horford, very ground bound playing. He's not going to be one of those guys playing into his late 30s. I think Xavier Tillman is a guy that's going to be serviceable throughout his 20s because he's a really smart basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great positional defender, quick off his feet despite not jumping high, if that makes sense. He gets
Kind
up in
of.
the air, he gets up in the air quickly, but he doesn't get very
Doesn't
high.
go very high. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
he's
he's
got
got good positioning, like you said, so he has some space to be able
similar to
to
Derrick
make
White. Like,
impact.
Derrick White doesn't
Right.
fly through the air, but he has really
Not a
good
crazy
timing.
athlete by any means.
Yeah, and he's quick off his feet. So that's what I like about Tillman. I think you're going to see the Celtics try and run some actions through him in the high post, very similar to the way that they do with Al Horford. I do think he has a lot of Al Horford in his game. In my opinion, he's the heir apparent for when Al retires. And I think you're going to be able to keep him at a pretty cheap price as well. Right. So it'll be interested to see if he gels with the guys when Missoula finds time to get him in. I haven't looked at the schedule to see when the next back-to-back is. I don't know if you guys did that on the pod earlier today.
I still have the schedule pulled up here so I can check that out. So I know right now the schedule's not a ton of back-to-backs. I don't think the next back-to-back is until after that stretch of all those national TV games. So, hey, NBA, kudos to you for not putting back-to-backs for national TV games. I don't know about our opponents, but I know that's been a big issue throughout the year here. But it's not until March 11th and 12th that there's a back-to-back with Portland and Utah. So I think that's the last part that I think is going to be really interesting to see. Both on the road. So he'll definitely get a ton of run in that. But I think in these next 8 games or so, it's going to be interesting to see when and where Missoula, as he said, the season will dictate, will present itself, I think, or something along those lines is what he said before the game, as to when Tillman will get his run. So it'll be interesting to see when those moments present themselves over these next 8 games. I'm sure we'll see some of Tillman, but when and where, I honestly don't know. And I think he'll get some run with the starters or with that main group. I do think it's going to be imperative that Joe gets a look to see what that looks like, especially against top tier competition. So that'll be fun over the next couple of weeks to see what that looks like and see less of a battle between Luke and Tillman and more of just matchup and flow wise within a game, I think is how Joe will manage it. And I think it'll be fun to see, what that looks like. That's one of the puzzle pieces for these last 27 games is what do we think that looks like night to night by the time we get to the playoffs and have at least a feel for when it's time to do one and when it's time to do the other. But any other final thoughts you got here, Greg, before we wrap this up?
Man, I mean, no, not about the Celtics. I did get to, we talked before, I did get to go to the hospital today, see the baby boy, boy coming in late June, early July. So we had the 3D scan today, which was absolutely bananas. It's my first child, as you know, but
have we talked about this on the podcast?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
yeah,
this is why I didn't say anything. I was wasn't sure if this had been talked about.
Yeah, no. I think we have. If not, breaking news. I'm having a kid.
There you go.
So yeah. First child's coming in late June, early July. So it's just absolutely bananas to see the human being that's in my fiance's stomach right now. It's just like seeing him kicking around, grabbing his feet. He was like doing all this crazy shit.
What's the fruit or vegetable that we're at today?
I mean, he's 13 ounces. He's like full of, so I don't know what's 13 ounces, but he's
I
pretty
don't know.
big.
Everyone that's ever pregnant has always told me oh, he's a cantaloupe now, or oh, it's a
he's bigger. He's definitely bigger than a banana. He's bigger than I think. Like, we've passed the grapefruit, we passed the banana stage, so he's getting bigger. Okay. They did say at this point 24th percentile in terms of like size, but they said like the next 3 weeks will kind of determine like where he is on like the percentile kind of range in general. But Danielle was like, there goes the NBA dreams, babe. Like you decided to fall in love with a short little Mexican girl. And I'm like, God damn it.
Hey, ball handling skills for days, man. We're still going to have a hope. We're going to get him in the league. We're going to get those ball handling skills going early. And, we'll make him a shooter. Come on now. Between me and you, we'll make him a shooter at the very
least. He's going to have, I mean, you can teach him how to be a short king.
Exactly. I got it.
Yeah.
That's what the Godfather's for here. That's
That's
what
what
I'm
the
here to
Godfather's for.
impart my wisdom to your son. And then with that, man, let me be the first to say happy birthday. I know it's not
Oh,
quite not
holy shit. Yeah, it is my
not
birthday.
not not quite midnight yet, but by the time this is out in the world, for those that are listening, make sure you shout out at Mini Minnow on Twitter, at Menakis Music, Menakis_music on IG. Make sure you shoot my guy a happy birthday. And he'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast, love for you to maybe download some of his music, put it on a playlist, give the guy a birthday present here. So happy early birthday here for another couple of hours to you, Greg.
And I want to give myself a shout because, the last week of being 34, we were playing basketball on Tuesday. And I said, can I still grab the rim? I haven't even tried to jump, and I don't even we play basketball, but I just shoot threes now. And I just kind of play my Halliburton game. And I was like, I'm gonna see if I can still grab the rim. I got up, I grabbed the rim. I was very happy with that. I don't know that I'm ever gonna come close to dunking again. I've dunked a ball maybe 5 times in my life. And
you never done it in a game, have you?
No, I never did it. Maybe a pickup game in college once, but
okay.
Yeah, never in an
prime.
actual game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. You know what I did in the going into freshman year of college? We were playing run at the orientation, and the rims were probably a little low. I feel like they were probably a little low, but I did catch a dunk in that, and I was like, holy shit, I can dunk now. And then I just never did it again.
One of those moments where you caught yourself by surprise. You're like, oh my God, I don't know how I did that. I didn't sometimes when you hit a shot, and you're like, I didn't really see the rim. I just I instinctively shot it. I don't know how that went in. I didn't
Yeah,
see
it's like when before they fixed the rims at the place that we play at, where guys were catching dunks in the game. It's that was 9-6, bro.
Hey man, a dunk is a dunk. Coming from a short king, a dunk is a dunk whenever you can get it. Even if it's a dunk king. Maybe that's where I can get my dunk, from the Dunk Kings. But all right, I was gonna wrap it up for this show. Once again, wish a happy birthday to our guy here on social media when you get the chance. And then Greg, this the new ending to our show here has been killing it. So go ahead and intro the ending here. And if you got any more Black Sheep Optimus music that's coming out that you want to promote, let the people know.
I mean, we have a show coming up on March 15th, I think, at this place called Far Out Lounge here in Austin. But we're going to be releasing
airplane tickets now.
Yeah, get your airplane tickets now. It's actually it's supposed to be a big show. We'll see because it's part of South by. But this is one of our songs, Get This High. You can find it on Spotify. We had some issues with the track. I actually had to delete it from Spotify and re-upload it today. So I think the streams are back all the way to 0. So we need to get the streams back up. I'll tell you off air.
All right. We got that's the birthday present for you then. Everyone listening, go download Get This High, add it to a playlist. Make sure you do that today as a birthday gift to our guy Greg for all the content and work that he puts into this show. Let's try to get This High trending. I don't really know what you call it, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. Here's the thing. I resubmitted it to Spotify, so I don't even know if it's on Spotify yet. If you have Apple Music, it's everywhere but Spotify is good. So go find it everywhere but Spotify.
Come on, Spotify. Get your shit together.
They're not our sponsor or anything like that. Fuck Spotify. Yeah, go listen to Get This High. Just check out Black Sheep Optimus. Appreciate you, Will. And we'll talk to everybody soon.
All right, y'all.
I lose my mind. It don't take much no more until I hit the floor. Every time I get this high, it's you I find. It don't take much no more until I'm at your door.
You cut me to my core, baby. What can I say? You got me on the floor, you know I came to play. I know I shouldn't, but you seem to take my pain away. And every time I score, Jayson Tatum fade away. I close my eyes and I'm floating your river. I call to see if you open, you know I hope you deliver. Every time you're getting close